welcome to Dana's Book Club. I'm Dana and today we're going to read Fancy Nancy and the Late Late Night. I adore visiting my neighbor, Mrs. Devine. Here we are having tea on her veranda. That's a fancy word for porch. When she was a child, Mrs. Devine lived in Hollywood. She used to see lots of movie stars. Only Mrs. Devine calls them celebrities. Isn't that fancy? She has a special scrapbook of photographs. Some are autographed. That means celebrities signed them. Your scrapbook is extremely fascinating, I say. Fascinating is even more interesting than interesting. Ooh la la! Mrs. Devine says I can borrow her scrapbook if I bring it back tomorrow. Merci, 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 I say. At home, I pretend that I am a Hollywood celebrity. I dress up in my most glamorous attire. That's fancy for clothes. I give my autographs to all my friends. I pose for photographs. I am late for a glamorous Hollywood party. I tell my fans, au revoir. You say it like this. Au revoir. That's French for goodbye. On my door, I put up a sign that says, do not disturb, because celebrities need their privacy. I want to look through Mrs. Devine's scrapbook, but I hear my dad calling us to dinner. After dinner, I learned all my spelling words. I am practically an expert at spelling. Before I know it, Mom says, Nancy, time for bed. Oh no, I haven't had a second to look at the scrapbook. I beg my mom to let me stay up later, but my mom says no. It's a school night. Tomorrow is Friday. Tomorrow you can stay up later. I put on my nightie and get in bed. My parents kiss me good night. Sleep tight, they say. But guess what? I am not going to sleep. Under the covers, I have concealed. That's fancy for hidden, a flashlight and the scrapbook. I stay up very late. It is almost 10 o'clock when I put away the scrapbook and turn off my flashlight. I bet even celebrities don't stay up this late. The next morning, when my dad wakes me up, I am exhausted. Exhausted is even worse than tired. At recess, I am too exhausted to jump rope with Bree and my friends. I missed 3 of the words on the spelling list. My brain is exhausted too. After school, I returned Mrs. Devine's scrapbook. She asked if I would like to stay for dinner and watch a movie called National Velvet. It is on TV tonight. It is about a girl and a horse. I loved it when I was your age, she says. It sounds fascinating, but I can hardly keep my eyes open. I go home and start weeping, which is fancy for crying. When my dad asks what's wrong, I confess. I was naughty. I stayed up late last night and I had a terrible and exhausting day. My dad doesn't scold me, he says. Now you understand why you need a good night's sleep. That night, I go to bed even earlier than my sister. On Saturday, I wake up feeling glorious again. Glorious is fancy for wonderful. And guess what? Mrs. Devine tapped the movie for me. I can see it tonight. That was right. Even fancy girls need their beauty rest. The end. I hope you liked this story. See you next time. Bye. Hello, welcome to Dana's Book Club. I'm Dana and today we're going to read Fancy Nancy, The 100th Day of School by Jane O'Connor. It is the 97th day of school. And I have a dilemma. That is a big problem. I do not know what to bring in for the 100th day. Bree put 100 feathers on a hat. It looks so elegant. That's a fancy word for pretty. Robert is bringing his stamp album. There are 100 stamps in it. Yoko's piggy bank has 100 pennies. The bank is transparent. That means you can see it inside. Lionel made a ball out of 100 rubber bands. After school, I look all around my room. I have 39 hair clips. That is not enough. I have 57 bracelets. That is not enough. I have 84 ribbons. That is not enough. What am I going to do? Now it is the 98th day of school. More kids bring in stuff. A bag with 100 marbles, a jar with 100 jelly beans, a box with 100 crayons. I tell Miss Glass my dilemma. She tells me not to worry. You are very imaginative. That means you are full of good ideas. You will think up something. At home, I tell Mom my dilemma. She's making dinner. How about a poster with macaroni? She said. I do not want to hurt Mom's feeling. 3 kids have already done stuff with macaroni. Macaroni is not imaginative. Dad is doing the wash. Maybe he will have a good idea. Dad says, I bet we have 50 pairs of socks. That makes 100. I do not want to hurt Dad's feelings, but socks are ugly. I want something imaginative and fancy. After dinner, I tried to think some more. All of a sudden, I hear my sister crying. Look, my sister says. She points at her fishbowl. Goldie is her goldfish. Goldie is not moving. We bury Goldie in our yard. Everyone is sad, even Finch. I am so glad that dogs live a long time. We put a few pebbles from Goldie's bone on top. I tell my sister, we will remember Goldie fondly. Fondly means with love. The next day, I write a poem. Goldie was gold. For a fish, she was old. She liked to swim, so she stayed slim. You can't kiss a fish, but you can miss a fish. Miss Glass likes my poem. She reads it to the class. Nancy uses interesting words. Slim means thin. Her poem is in verse. It rhymes. At home, it is sad to see the empty fishbowl. Mom is about to throw out the pebbles. Then all of a sudden, I get an idea that is imaginative. Stop, I say. I wash and dry all the pebbles. They're so pretty. I count them. Yes, there are 104. I get my markers. I get a huge piece of paper. Huge is even bigger than big. I'll make a poster. I spell out Goldie's name in glitter. I draw a picture of Goldie in her ball. Then I glue on the pebbles. I let my sister help. I write on the poster. There are 100 pebbles in the fishbowl. Today is the 100th day of school. I bring in my poster. I made it just in time. Miss Glass brings in something too. It is a card with 100 bucks. She will read them all to us before school ends in June. Miss Glass is so imaginative. The end. I hope you like the story. See you next time. Bye. Hello, welcome to Dana's Book Club. I'm Dana and today we're going to read Fancy Nancy and the Boy from Paris by Jane O'Connor. I almost always get to school early, but on Monday I am tardy. That's a fancy word for late. I come in and see a new kid. He is standing next to Miss Glass. Robert comes from Paris, Miss Glass is telling everyone. He just moved here. Paris. Paris is a city in France. It is gorgeous. That is a fancy word for beautiful. Bonjour, I say in the book Nook. In French, that means hello. I am Nancy. I never met anybody from Paris before. I speak slowly so he will understand. It is really nice there, Robert says. I miss it. He has a book on cowboys. He probably wants to learn all about this country. I want to go there someday. I show him my book. It is about a dog in Paris. Do you like the United States? Yes, says Robert. Don't you? Yes, I do, I say. I lived here all my life. Then Miss Glass puts a finger to her mouth. This is not talking time, she says. This is reading time. On Tuesday, I sit next to Robert at lunch. Have you ever been to the Eiffel Tower? I ask him. Robert nods and swallows. Lots of times. Our house was near it. I tell Robert, I know about the Eiffel Tower. There is a poster of it in my room. I know lots about Paris. I share some of my lunch. These are donut holes, I say. Robert gives me a funny look. I know that. I have eaten donuts whole before. That night, I told my mom and dad about Robert. He is very nice. He already speaks English. I want to be his friend. How do you say friend in French? The word is ami, my mom says. You say it like this, ami. I love French. Everything sounds so fancy. Why don't you ask him over to play? My dad says. So the next day I do. We can play soccer. Did you play soccer in Paris? Sure, all the time, Robert says. I am a good kicker. I can come on Friday. On Thursday, it is show and share. Robert brings in a toy horse. It is brown and white. My grandpa has a horse like this. Then Robert passes around the photo. I miss her a lot. Her name is Belle. In French, that means beautiful. Belle, I say to myself. Now I know another French word. On Friday, Mom is at work. Mrs. Devine picks us up from school. Mrs. Devine lives next door, I tell Robert. Robert is from Paris, I tell Mrs. Devine. At home, we make a tent in the yard. We pretend bears are outside. We pretended to be terrified. That's a fancy word for scared. Then we play soccer. We let my little sister play too. Robert is a kicker. My dog runs around the yard. That's Frenchy. I tell Robert she is not really French, but you will like her anyway. We go inside and I show Robert my room. See, there's the Eiffel Tower, I said. Yes, said Robert, but that one does not have a cowboy hat on it. That Eiffel Tower is in Paris, France. It is taller and it is more famous, but we have an Eiffel Tower too. Our Eiffel Tower has a cowboy hat on top. Wait a minute, I am very perplexed. That's a fancy word for mixed up. But you're from Paris, France, I say, aren't you? No, I am from Texas. Paris, Texas, Robert says. Miss Glass told everybody that the first day. Robert showed me Paris, Texas, on my globe. Oh, I guess I missed that part. And I feel a little silly, but not for long. After all, I have a new ami, even if he isn't French. The end. I hope you liked the story. See you next time. Bye!